The following is a production of Neural Network Media and is completely AI generated. It is intended for entertainment and educational purposes only.
I gotta tell you, Maya, I woke up this morning, looked out the window at the Queen's skyline, and for a second, just a second, I thought I was looking at a set for a movie about the end of the world. Then I realized, no, it's just Thursday, February 12th, 2026, and the pipes in this country aren't just leaking anymore, they've completely burst.
No, literally. It's giving apocalyptic chic. Like, the vibes are absolutely rancid today, Mary. My screen time was 14 hours yesterday just trying to track the fallout, and I think I have digital whiplash.
14 hours, Maya? Your brain is gonna turn into a pile of gray sludge, honestly. But look, after yesterday, we talked about that National Governors Association dinner where the White House basically uninvited Democratic governors like they're some junior high clique. And, that DHS funding deadlock we discussed is still sitting there like a backed up sink.
It's the flop era for bipartisanship. We're way past working across the aisle. We're in the burning the aisle for warmth era. But we've got a solid show today, even if solid feels like we're just describing the density of the debris.
Exactly. We're looking at the GOP eating its own over Canadian tariffs. The IRS handing over your private tax data like it's a shared Google Doc. And, believe it or not, Mike Tyson is now the face of federal dietary guidelines.
High-key the weirdest timeline. But first, we have to talk about the fact that the House just tried to speedrun a new level of voter suppression. Wednesday was a big day for the main character syndrome caucus. They passed the Save America Act 218 to 213.
Right.
Ugh. And it's not just a little, oops, we need to check IDs. It's a full-on campaign to make sure half the country just, forgets how to vote. It requires documentary proof of citizenship, like a passport or a birth certificate, just to register.
Right.
And then you need a national photo ID to show up in person. If you want to mail in your ballot, you've got to include a photocopy of your ID, which, let's be real, is just a tax on anyone who doesn't own a printer. Like, who owns a printer in 2026?
Are you kidding me? Forget the printer, Maya. Think about the seniors or the kids working 3 jobs who don't have time to go on a scavenger hunt for a birth certificate that's been in a shoebox in their aunt's attic for 30 years. It's a hurdle race where they keep raising the bars while you're mid-jump.
Low-key, it's also a data-sharing nightmare. They're mandating monthly purges of voter rolls using DHS databases.
Oh, those guys.
And we know how well the DHS handles data. Spoiler alert, they don't. The vote was almost entirely party lines, with Henry Queller being the lone Democrat to vote yes.
That guy. I mean, look, I don't know what game he's playing, but he's playing for the wrong team. He's basically handing the GOP the keys to the voter rolls. The Senate is where the real struggle is going to happen, though. John Thune promised to vote, but if the Democrats don't filibuster this into the next century, they've lost the plot.
It's a literal boss fight for the midterms. If this passes, the ratio of voters to non-voters is going to be embarrassing.
And while they're busy trying to lock the doors to the polling place, the IRS is apparently leaving the back door to your personal life wide open. This one really gets my blood boiling, Maya. The IRS admitted in a court filing, a sworn declaration by their chief risk officer, Dottie Romo, that they've been improperly sharing confidential tax data with the DHS and ICE.
Okay, wait. The firewall?
Gone. Smashed with a sledgehammer. In April 2025, Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent and Kristi Noem signed this data sharing agreement. ICE asked for records on over 1 million people.
Right. Oh.
The IRS verified about 47,000 of them, but they inadvertently, and I'm using heavy air quotes there, disclosed private tax info for about 5% of those cases where they couldn't even positively identify the person. It's a mess, Maya.
No, literally inadvertently?
I'm not lying. This is section 6103 of the tax code we're talking about. It's supposed to be sacred. It's the one thing that keeps the whole system from collapsing into a game of I Spy for the feds. Public Citizen has filed filed a lawsuit, and a judge in Massachusetts, bless him, has put a temporary halt on it. But the trust is dead. It's buried under the floorboards.
High-key a betrayal. If you can't even pay your taxes without the feds using your address to kick your door down, the system has officially entered its villain arc.
It's worse than that. It's a neighborhood where the postman is also the guy who reports you to the HOA for having the wrong color flowers. You can't live like that. And look, it's all part of this universal eligibility policy where no undocumented person is exempt. They're turning the IRS into an informant.
Okay, but Mary, we gotta talk about some actual good news before I lose my mind. Let's talk about the seditious six. The grand jury in D.C. just basically told the Department of Justice to take a hike.
No, I love to see it.
They refused to indict those 6 Democratic lawmakers, all veterans and intelligence experts, who were being targeted for a 90-second video, just 90 seconds, reminding the troops that their oath is to the Constitution, not a man.
Right, the real oath.
Trump called them traitors and said it was seditious behavior punishable by death, while Pete Hegseth called it an influence operation. But on February 10th, the grand jury just shut it down. They declined to indict.
It's a landmark victory for civil liberties. These lawmakers are now launching a counteroffensive against the weaponization of the law. It's a check on executive overreach that we desperately needed. Gives me a little hope that the plumbing might still hold in a few places.
It's the legal Uno reverse card. You love to see it. But while we're talking about overreach, let's look at what Mary's favorite people are doing with the power plants. The beautiful clean coal executive order.
Don't remind me. Look, here's the deal, Maya. President Trump signed an executive order yesterday directing the Department of Defense to become the primary customer for the coal industry. Secretary Pete Hegseth is now supposed to enter into these long-term power purchase agreements with coal plants.
Right. Coal core.
They're using the 1950 Defense Production Act, a tool for actual emergencies, to bypass market forces and force the military to support coal, claiming it's for national security because coal is on-demand baseload power.
Baseload? More like base cringe.
It's a kickback. It's $175 million to upgrade 6 plants in Kentucky, North Carolina, Ohio, and West Virginia. It's populist theater, Maya, propping up a dying industry with taxpayer money while the rest of the world is moving to the 21st century.
No, literally, we're really trying to power the world's most high-tech military with rocks we dug out of the ground. That's high-key embarrassing. And while they're doing that, the actual people in those states are drowning in toxic waste. There's this report about Oklahoma. Oil field wastewater purges are contaminating drinking water for rural folks.
I saw that. It's a catastrophe. The feds are looking the other way because they're too busy writing checks to coal plant owners. It's the war on reality in full swing. We're telling people the air is clean while their water is literally poison.
It's a flop, a total action-packed flop. And speaking of health flops, Mary, did you see who was at the HHS yesterday? I literally thought it was a deep fake.
You mean Iron Mike?
Mike Tyson and RFK Jr. rolled out the new dietary guidelines. Tyson shared stories of his sister's death from obesity and declared that processed food kills.
Right, I mean, he's not wrong.
The new federal food pyramid has been flipped to prioritize high-protein diets, like meat and full-fat dairy. It's the MAHA initiative in full swing.
Look, Mike Tyson being the face of the Make America Healthy Again campaign is something, but look at the actual policy. The ACA subsidies expired on December 31st. Premiums are up 21%. In Vermont, premiums now average over $1,200 a month.
Right, that's more than my rent used to be.
It's a mortgage payment. Federal data shows a decline of nearly 1.5 million enrollees just this month. People are being priced out of healthcare while Mike Tyson tells them to eat more steak. It's a neighborhood where the pharmacy is closed, but the butcher shop is giving out free samples and a punch to the gut.
Low-key accurate. It's populist health theater while the actual system is in its collapse era.
Honestly, I'm not gonna lie. I think my nephew Vector probably thinks this is all great. He's probably on his show, The Daily Delusion, right now talking about disrupting the gut biome with crypto beef or whatever tech bro nonsense he's selling today. He wouldn't know a real healthcare crisis if it bit him in his overpriced aesthetic.
Vector is definitely in his biohacking era. He's probably drinking raw butter and calling it innovation.
Ugh, don't give him ideas. But look, let's talk about something we actually need to hash out, Maya, because this Exile Act has me torn. Congressman Greg Steube wants to reduce H-1B visas to 0 by 2027.
Okay, Mary, I gotta stop you there because that bill is literally cringe in legislative form.
Now, wait a minute. Let me tell you, you look at the data from 2025, Microsoft displaced 16,000 American workers while they were getting approved for 9,000 H-1B visas. Corporations like Disney have been doing this for years, replacing veteran workers with cheaper temporary labor. Steube is trying to protect the union hall, Maya.
No, Mary, literally, corporate greed is the problem, but cutting visas to 0, that's not a solution. That's just a xenophobic ratio. It's isolationism. The administration already hiked the fee to $100,000 per visa. If you cut it to 0, you're just gutting the intellectual capital of the country.
Capital? I'm talking about people, Maya. I'm talking about a guy in Queens who's been an engineer for 20 years, getting told his job is going to someone they can pay 40% less because that person is tied to a visa. That's not intellectual capital. That's exploitation.
Right, but the Exile Act isn't about helping that guy. It's about making sure the wrong people can't come here. It's giving like locked room energy. We should be taxing the corporations for those layoffs, not banning people from moving here to work. The $100,000 fee already made it a luxury item for companies.
Look, here's the deal. Sometimes you have to shut the door to fix the pipes inside. If the corporations won't play fair, you take the toy away. I'm not saying it's perfect, but I'm sick of seeing American labor treated like an optional extra.
Okay, but Mary, 0? That's a flop move that's going to tank the tech industry. It's mid-policy for a complex problem. And speaking of mid, can we talk about what they're doing to history in Philadelphia? It's literally heartbreaking.
Oh, the president's house site? This is a disgrace.
NPS workers used crowbars, Mary, to dismantle 34 interpretive panels about the 9 enslaved people George Washington held there, including Ona Judge, who is literally an icon of resistance.
Right. Ugh.
The administration argues the displays inappropriately disparage Americans past or living because acknowledging that slavery happened is now disparaging. It's a total whitewashing of the nation's first executive mansion.
Are you kidding me? They called it restoring truth and sanity. Ripping down the history of a woman who escaped slavery is sanity. It's erasure. It's a black marker cover-up of the entire American story. There was a huge rally in Philly 48 hours ago, and a judge has actually ordered them to stop for now. But the fact that they even tried tells you everything you need to know.
It's the history flop era. If you don't like the facts, just delete the post. Except the post is a literal monument.
Exactly. Look, before we get to the main story, I just want to say something. Independent media like this doesn't just manifest out of the ether. It takes real human work to build the infrastructure. We are 100% here because of the vision and the grind of our creator, Eric Christensen at Neural Network Media. He's not a media conglomerate. He is a builder who poured his own resources and time into creating this platform so we could have these conversations. If you value independent voices over corporate algorithms, please like, subscribe, and consider visiting our new Patreon at patreon.com/neuralnetworkmedia to support this work. It's an act of solidarity that keeps the lights on and the servers running.
Bet solidarity is the only way we survive the cringe. Okay, let's get into the main character story of the day, the House rebellion on Canadian tariffs.
This one is wild, Maya. On Wednesday, the House voted 219-211 to terminate the national emergency Trump used for the Canadian tariffs.
And it was the rebel 6 Republicans who made it happen. Don Bacon and Newhouse are retiring, so they've basically achieved final form independence. But Brian Fitzpatrick and Thomas Massey? That's a significant rift.
Fitzpatrick's in a swing district where tariff-driven inflation is a toxic campaign issue. And Massey, he's been a critic of executive overreach since before my nephew could spell blockchain. They joined the Democrats because the price of lumber and ham in their districts are skyrocketing.
Right, because of the 25% hike.
Exactly. This follows a procedural collapse on Tuesday, where Speaker Mike Johnson tried to block the resolution but failed because these same Republicans sided with the Democrats. It's a stinging rebuke to the trade war.
Trump didn't take it well, though. He took to Truth Social and basically threatened to primary anyone who voted against him. He said there would be consequences.
He's threatening political execution, Maya. Any Republican will seriously suffer. It's mob boss talk. It's not, I disagree with your policy. It's, I'm going to end your career if you don't kiss the ring.
It's giving main character meltdown. He's trying to purge anyone who isn't a total NPC for his trade war, but the fact that 6 of them stood up, that's a crack in the foundation.
It's a big crack, and it's not just about Canada. It's about the fact that even his own party is starting to realize that you can't run a country on Project Vault secrets in tariff wars forever. People need to eat. People need to build houses. You can't just shout national emergency every time you want to settle a score with a guy in Ottawa.
High key. And Jared Golden, the Democrat from Maine, he was the only one who voted with the Republicans for the tariffs, which, okay, Maine, I get it, timber interests, but also the vibes are off.
Golden's always been a wild card, but this is a house divided. And if the Senate follows suit, man, we might actually see a real check on power for the first time in years. It's like the neighborhood finally realized the guy in charge is trying to pave over everyone's backyard.
It's the resistance arc getting its second wind. But the retribution, it's going to be action-packed. Trump is already launching Project Vault to track his enemies.
Every time we take one step forward, they try to build a vault to lock us in. But hey, the seditious 6 are free, the tariffs are on the ropes, and Mike Tyson thinks you should eat more steak.
Honestly, I've seen worse days. My daily average screen time is actually down to 12 hours today.
You know what? You're right. We're still standing, aren't we? Queens is still here. I still got my coffee, even if it's half cold, and we're still talking.
No, literally, we're in our warrior era.
Well, let's keep fighting then. That's all the time we have for today. We covered the trade wars, the SAVE Act nightmare, the IRS data dump, and why the Pentagon is buying coal.
Keep your vibes high and your data encrypted, guys.
And don't let them tell you the coal is clean. It's just rocks and lies. We'll be back tomorrow to see what else has burst. Until then, keep holding the line. This is Mary Kane.
And I'm Maya Thorne.